Member for Davenport.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. On behalf of the residents of Davenport that I'm so proud to represent, I appreciate the opportunity to take part in today's debate on the Opposition Day motion put forward by the Leader of the NDP on tax cuts and fairness. It is indeed a rare pleasure to debate a motion that is supportive of our federal government's platform commitment to reduce taxes for middle-class Canadians while raising them on the wealthiest. So I should begin by thanking the Honourable Member from Burnaby South for his support. It is my sincere hope that this partnership towards a fair tax system for all Canadians remains long and productive. As the Honourable Member knows, and indeed all members of this House, one of the key priorities, or our key priorities when we were first elected in late 2015, was to reduce taxes for middle-class Canadians while raising them on the wealthiest 1%. And we have delivered on that commitment in real terms. We've also increased support for fairness and low-income workers through programs such as the Canada Child Benefit and the Canada Workers Benefit, which have helped lift over 1 million Canadians out of poverty since 2015, including 435,000 children. We've increased the Guaranteed Income Supplement top-up benefit for low-income single seniors, enhanced the GIS earnings exemption, and we're increasing old age security for Canadians aged 75 and older, beginning in July of this year. Moreover, we have increased the basic personal amount that Canadians can earn before paying any federal income tax. And to ensure this support is targeted at the middle class, the benefits of the increased basic personal amount are phased out for high-income taxpayers. So, Madam Speaker, when this measure is fully implemented next year, single individuals will pay $300 less in tax each year, and families will pay $600 less, which will be huge savings for both families and for individuals. In addition to these new tax breaks for Canadians and Canadian workers, our federal government has also targeted new tax relief this year to those businesses that are doing their part to create jobs and growth by investing in a better future for all Canadians. For example, as more countries commit to achieving net zero emissions by 2050, the demand for zero emissions technology will only grow. To create jobs and support the growth of clean technology manufacturing in Canada, Budget 2021 proposed to reduce by half the general corporate and small business income tax rates for businesses that manufacture zero emissions technologies. And this tax cut would apply as of January 1st, 2022, Madam Speaker. What's more, we're not just providing tax breaks to innovative businesses that are doing their part to protect the environment this year, but we're also helping the many small businesses that are doing their part in fighting against COVID. Small businesses understand that proper ventilation makes indoor air healthier and safer, helping reduce the risk of COVID-19 transmission. And many want to make further improvements to their indoor air quality to protect their workers and customers. But they've been finding that investing in equipment to improve ventilation can be costly. And that's why our federal government has proposed a temporary refundable small business air quality improvement tax credit of 25% on eligible air quality improvement expenses incurred by small businesses. Businesses would receive the credit on eligible expenses incurred between September 1st, 2021 and December 31st, 2022, up to a maximum of $10,000 per location and $50,000 in total. That's not just good for their business, Madam Speaker. It's also good for the health and safety of Canadians. So as you can see, Madam Speaker, where our government delivers tax cut to businesses, it is doing so strictly with a view to encouraging the sort of investments that support Canadians and their highest priorities. And at the same time, we're ensuring that taxes are appropriate and fair in discouraging the sort of activities that are not helpful to Canadians. A prime example of this is our proposed tax on non-resident, non-Canadian owned residential real estate that is considered to be vacant or underused, which would become effective as of January 1st, 2022. While this tax would not be paid by individual Canadian homeowners, it would certainly benefit Canadians. That's because the recent and rapid rise in housing prices has made finding an affordable place to call home increasingly difficult, and the underused housing tax would help support investments in housing affordability so that all Canadians can have a safe and affordable place to call home. Another important example of how our government is ensuring that Canadians do not have to bear the burden of other decisions is the price that we've put on carbon pollution in Canada. Because the fact is that climate change presents a threat to our long-term health and economic prosperity, and putting a price on carbon pollution is the most effective policy to address it. Fortunately, our federal government, along with the Honourable Member of Burnaby South, and I know many other members of this venerable House, understand this, as do most Canadians and provincial governments. And that's why we've recently confirmed our plan to increase the carbon price through to 2030. At the same time, we will continue to return the direct proceeds from the federal carbon pollution pricing system to their province or territory of origin. In jurisdictions that do not have their own fuel charge consistent with the federal benchmark criteria, and that would be Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta, approximately 90% of the direct proceeds from the fuel charge are returned to residents of those provinces through the Climate Action Incentive payments. As a result, in most households, these climate action incentive payments actually represent more than the increased costs they face from the federal carbon pollution pricing system. What's more, the remaining fuel charge proceeds, which is 10%, are used to support small businesses, farmers, Indigenous groups, and other organizations. Not $1 stays with our federal government, and going forward, the federal carbon price will continue to be revenue neutral for the Government of Canada. Madam Speaker, our federal government is also well aware that even as Canadians have sacrificed to keep our economy going through the pandemic, some of the wealthiest have done very well for themselves. And we have already taken action on the understanding that those who can afford to buy luxury goods can afford to pay a little bit more. To that end, our federal government is following through on its commitment to introduce a tax on select luxury goods. In Budget 2021, we proposed the introduction of a tax on the sale of new luxury cars and aircraft with a retail sale price over $100,000 and new boats over $250,000. This tax would be calculated at the lesser of 20% of the value above these price thresholds, or 10% of the full value of the luxury vehicle, aircraft, or vessel. And to implement this commitment, we recently, and that was on March 11, 2022, we released for public comment draft legislative proposals. These draft legislative proposals reflect and respond to input received during consultations with the stakeholders. And with the support of our partners in this House, who share our goal of a fair tax system, this tax would come into effect on September 1st, 2022. These revenues raised by this tax can be used to offset costs for Canadians and invest in a strong economic recovery that supports their highest priorities. So in conclusion, taken together, Madam Speaker, all of these measures that I have touched on today show that our government is following through on its commitment to a fair tax system. And we will continue to follow through on this commitment as we move forward, including with respect to our commitment to ensuring that large profitable banks and insurers pay their fair share as well. I am pleased that with today's motion for debate, we will have the support of the Honourable Member for Burnaby South and his colleagues as we do so. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I really appreciate the opportunity to make the case and to speak in the House today.